Happy Thursday, everybody. Happy Thursday. Welcome to the Dollar Hour. I am Deonte Burden, a.k.a. Mr. Short Dollar himself. We got an awesome show planned tonight. Tonight we're talking about 5 insurance coverages you can't ignore. Again, 5 insurance coverages you can't ignore. It's going to be an awesome show. It's going to be probably some coverages that you're familiar with, some that you may surprise you, and some you probably didn't realize how important it is for you to have them. But it's going to be a good, informative show, and I want you guys to be interacting and everything. First, while we starting everything off, please make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the number 1, the like button, and also share everything with the show. We're streaming live right now on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and what am I forgetting? Instagram.
Okay.
So, our main platform is the YouTube channel, Mr. Short Dollar. So if you haven't already, like and subscribe to whatever platform you're looking at. But most importantly, go to the YouTube channel, Mr. Short Dollar, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and make sure you hit the bell, get a notification each time we upload a new video. Again, tonight we're talking about 5 insurance coverages you can't ignore. Before we get started, I want to introduce my awesome producers, DJ Lab.
What's going on, brother?
Now, what's
Another
happening,
Thursday,
man?
right?
Hey, man, living the dream every Thursday.
Every Thursday, living the dream.
Hey. Also, to my other producer, Slick 316. What's up, Reek?
What's going on?
All right, and at the beginning of the show, I do a little quick rehash of the previous week. Guys, we are in tax season. Your boy doing pretty good right now. You guys know I am the owner of Majestic Business Services. The contact information for Majestic is in the description section of all the videos. You can Google us, Majestic Business Services. Doing pretty good this tax season. This is my 21st tax season.
21st.
21. I still ain't got to use your cousins. Got my refund.
Where my money?
Where my money at, What is this? The IRS want to know. Why I ain't got the delay? Also, Valentine's Day was a couple days away. I hope everybody got their candies and kisses and whatever else they were trying to get.
Right.
Yeah, so, hope everybody enjoyed their Valentine's Day. I told everybody it was my first Valentine's Day single in 20 years, so it was cool. It was cool, to say the least.
Say hey to your mama.
Hey, mama, what's happening? What age time today?
That's right.
What's going on, mom? Appreciate you tuning in.
That's right.
I'm glad you found mom since she missed the show last night. She wasn't sure what platform we was on, so I'm glad she tuned in. She was asking me earlier and stuff. I appreciate you tuning in, mom. Also, guys, make sure you go to the Mr. Short Dollar YouTube channel. We've released a lot of videos in the past couple weeks regarding grants for female entrepreneurs, grants for black female entrepreneurs, videos concerning, I did a whole video introducing Fiverr, it's showing exactly how I've had success using Fiverr and what the pros and cons, how to use a 1099. I got videos coming out next week where we talk about, a lot of people telling you that you can get a business loan without using your personal information. I got a whole video coming about, what's a personal guarantor, what's needed, what's not needed. So got a lot of great information currently on the channel, and a lot of great information coming out of the pipe. So I need you guys to make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, Mr. Short Dollar, and so you can get all the information we got and all the great information we got coming down the pipe. Okay.
Okay.
Now, today what we're talking about again. Before we get started, Mr. Short Dollar, we talk about personal finance, business, entrepreneurship, and investing. Over 300 videos on the channel. We got a grant playlist with over 150 grant opportunities. Cover business finance, business investing, business management. A lot of great information for you guys to take advantage of. But definitely subscribe to the channel. The main hub is the YouTube channel, okay? Now, tonight's show, we're talking about 5 insurance coverages you can't ignore. Now, here's the deal, man. Theoretically, we know insurance. We know the purpose of insurance, to mitigate your risk and help you with certain things. So we all know that at the end of the day, you need to better protect yourself with insurance, right? For the most part, most states already have laws and provisions in place for you to have certain type of insurance. Now, if you got your car, you got to have car insurance. You may have full coverage, which is a great word, and you may have just straight liability. Usually, like we know with the federal government, everybody have some form of health insurance set up and everything. So we really, we know the whole purpose is to help you mitigate loss, to have some kind of coverages on it, so you don't have, limited liability with certain circumstances. But what I want to go over tonight, guys, is 5 insurance coverages that you cannot ignore, right? Because again, you don't have to quote unquote get these, right? Like the ones we just spoke on, but clearly as we get to talking about, you'll figure out you cannot have it. It's so important for you not to have it. You know, because if you do have an occurrence in your life where it's needed, it can be catastrophic if you don't have things in place, right?
Right.
So I was just thinking about, the first one, I want to go over, guys, where you look at this is a situation, being, it was more so health insurance. And what brings up with health insurance, we start looking at escalating medical costs, and you start thinking about nobody gets sick on purpose, right? We see professional athletes get cancer, right? We see it all the time. People get sick, get an ailment, hospitalization due to illness, accident, serious. It can happen at any time. The thing of it is, and especially with COVID, I'm pretty sure a lot of folks done got those medical statements back if you had coverage or not.
Right.
I mean, you could 2 or 3 days, you can get you maybe a couple $100,000 in medical bills.
Yeah, that's true. True. True.
So, I say this like, that stuff is, it can be astronomical. Hell, just you visiting with you, a little pain in your stomach, and the doctor wrote you a prescription. Hell, a televisit. Those, if you don't have just your basic health insurance to cover it, I mean, it can put you in the poorhouse.
That's true.
And I think a lot of times because
take your house.
Yeah. I just think a lot of times that people, it's not pushed on you to have it. A lot of folks don't necessarily think about it too tough.
What do you think is the most one of the insurance that they don't think about the most? Like, you gotta have car insurance and all that stuff. One of the insurances that you're talking about, one of the 5 that get pushed to the side the most?
I ain't want to introduce all 5 of them yet.
Oh, okay. My bad.
But we'll circle back to it.
Okay, we'll circle back to that.
We'll circle back to it.
Okay.
But I'll say even with the medical, people really don't really understand the gist of how important it is till you get sick. We all had kind of like the same common occurrences.
Right.
Babies. Every now and then you might catch a cold or something like that. Usually, most time, if you live just like a, say, quote unquote healthy lifestyle, and you don't have that happen to you, most of it be usually associated with your children. And then you may get, north of 40, then you might have other things pop up that may do it. Now you start getting your tweaks and bumps and your itches and scratches and stuff like that. They're getting overwhelming. Now you want to do it. Now you're hitting 45, 50. That knee got to go. That hip got to go. And you start putting yourself in a situation. Now we're looking at like, okay, I got this is something serious. We haven't even went into the other, things that could be more serious conditions, but people don't really put too much on it. And another thing is, what I want to push is that when you start doing it, because most times you're going to get health insurance, you're going to get it through your employment.
Right.
And when you get it with your employment, I think people look at getting certain basic coverage unless they have an illness already.
Right.
Maybe, say diabetic, certain issues and stuff like that, high blood pressure, things like that, where they know they have to get it because they've already started getting a certain lifestyle where they have to have those particular things in. And I don't think outside of that, the pre-part of it, people put a lot into it. Because, let's keep it real. People take health for granted. Right. You really don't start working out or training or try to do certain things until you start having issues, right? And even with the process of getting there, we were talking about health insurance. People don't look at the cost of even having insurance or the cost of using insurance. So, that's why I say I want people to start even looking at it from an implementation standpoint, how much their deductibles are, how much they're paying, having other things set in place, having those health saving accounts set up, but you're going to get certain prescriptions, how much you can actually be allocating out your check or be reimbursed from your job and stuff like that to be able to cover that. But a lot of those programs, people really don't think about until they're in a situation like, man, this is just costing too much. You may have a premium. Sometimes with your jobs have 3 or 4 different options. Like, well, that costs too much. But they're not looking at that premium, that program may cost more, but it covers a lot more than the one that is cheaper and you don't know what kind of cost you have, especially not thinking about what kind of cost you got associated during the year with those prescriptions, with those repetitive doctor visits and things like that. You know,
I read an article a while back that was saying, while we're talking about premiums, that was saying that the younger generation, like maybe 21 to 30, don't really don't really get health insurance. So that's why for us as older folks, our premiums are going up because they don't have the offset cost of younger folks paying premiums too, because they are foregoing the insurance part, the health insurance part. They're saying our premiums are going up because we're older, so we're going to go to the doctor more. And if they don't have the young folks paying their premiums, they don't have anything to offset our cost as older folks going to the doctor.
I see that.
Right.
Actually, I did insurance accounting for 15 years, so everything is all about, you know, you start talking the world of insurance, everything is about what we're talking about, risk mitigation, just being able to reduce the risk and everything. So, you know, theoretically, you are going to get less likely to get sick when you're young. It can happen than as you get older.
Right.
And so, like you just said, if you don't have that money coming to the pool to fund everything, you know, that cost associated is a ripple effect.
Right.
If everybody doesn't come in. But I'm gonna be honest with you, man. You know, a cold, ankle sprain. My sons got to fighting at the house about 3 years ago.
Okay.
And I hope they don't get embarrassed. I ain't gonna say who whooped.
Why you talk about us, right?
Who whooped who ass. We thought one of them nose were broke.
Okay.
And so when the ER about 1 in the morning, they looked at his nose. His nose wasn't broke. Gave him some Motrin, gauze in both his nostrils. Sent us on our way. I got two in a matter of a week. I got two $1,000 invoices.
Wow.
They had shit to do with it insurance. The insurance probably covered maybe about $700-800. But I had to pay a premium. I had to pay a bill to the hospital, and I also had to pay $1,000 to the doctor.
Yeah, that's where they get you.
Yeah, so I'm sitting here like, are you serious? And I had insurance.
Right, but they try to say that the doctor probably wasn't in network. See, that's what people don't realize, that and at one point when the Obama administration was in, they were trying to get to where if that doctor works at that hospital, that doctor is covered through whatever that hospital charges.
Gotcha.
But see, what happens is the hospital charges you a charge, then the doctor charges you a charge.
Got it.
So if you have 5-7 different doctors look at you, all of them are going to charge you a charge and try to get it through that insurance, and that insurance is only going to pay who's a network, and they're only going to pay what they already have set up as their payment. You get what I'm saying? So if they're only going to pay the doctor $500 and his bill, is $3,000, you are responsible for the $2,500.
Yeah, and the flip side of that is, if you ain't really dealing with it, that ain't your world. And shit about that, man. You just got a routine visit to the emergency room, a visit to whatever. You don't know this stuff.
Right.
And they racking up all kind of damn bills in your ass.
Right. Most of us think that if we go to that hospital and that doctor's there, that doctor works for the hospital. Most times the doctor is a contractor through the hospital and charges their own charges. So that's why the bills be so astronomical. And even though if you stay at the hospital, you're going to get charged for the gown, you're going to get charged for the pill, you're going to get charged for the cup, you're going to get charged for the toothbrush, you're going to get charged for everything. But still, you still going to have a doctor charge for every time he walk in that room and look at you.
Yeah, and even to your point, you think that the doctor work for the hospital here, you think the insurance going to pay for all this shit.
Right.
And you study there racking up bills and everything. You're like, man, your insurance have paid a certain paid toward this portion, and now you sitting there like, man, I can't afford this stuff.
Right.
So it's very, very important. We're talking about 5 insurance covers you can't ignore. When you even have the medical insurance guys, make sure that you scrutinizing all of them to look at, make sure it's the best for you, not the most affordable for you.
The best.
That's very, very important. The best one for you.
Right.
Because anything can happen. That's the thing about, we want to make sure we have all that stuff in place, because at the end of the day, that premium that you feel like, okay, is, too much whatever, it can negate a whole lot of losses for you during the year, right? Especially if it's something that's going to be reoccurring. So you need to make sure you got the best option for you, even if it's not necessarily the most affordable. And it's not really right now a choice. It's damn near a necessity. So health insurance guys, I really want you guys, because I think a lot of people have it because they have to have it. Damn near to keep their prescriptions going and everything like that.
I'm sorry, I forget the name. Clone. I'm sorry if that's wrong, but they said that they got charged $750 for a Motrin, when I'm assuming it's the son got towards ACL, when Aaron towards ACL. So, yeah.
Oh, that's my man. That's my man, Dwayne, man. What's happening, Dwayne? What's happening, man? Tell everybody I said, hey.
Okay.
That's all right, yeah. $750 for a Motrin. God, dog. Ooh.
for when the bottle only cost you $5.
Shit, man, they need, at least he got a pill. We didn't get none with PJ, man. And it's just amazing. And again, just like I say, if that's not your world, you go in there, well, you pop the insurance card out like it's a damn black card or something. Oh, here, man, here.
You go.
And then you turn around and get this bill, like, what is this?
Right.
You know, it'll blow your damn mind. Because like I said, I didn't know those items weren't covered until afterwards. You know, so I had no clue, man. And like I said, that's not your world. You're not thinking about it like that.
Right.
You know, so it's just, well, it was one of them things like, whoa. Yeah. Whoa, and me, you done had these conversations like, man, you could really be destroyed if you don't have damn medical insurance. Because even the money that we're talking about, the money that we have to pay, man, you get some of these damn bills from just say, a couple days overnight, child delivery, a little minor outpatient surgery. What the hell?
I'm gonna give you a good one. I went and got tested for COVID, and I still got $397 bills. I think the $397 because they took my temperature. That was my portion because they wasn't covered.
That was that little mint.
The COVID test is covered.
They gave you a little mint. That was a little mint they gave you.
Well, they gave me a mint, and they I'm sorry, they looked in my ear, they took my temperature, and they said, okay, wait here for 5 minutes.
I got you. So you got the VIP code.
Right,
I got you. I got you.
$397, and I was in there about 10 minutes.
Damn, boy. So we're in the wrong business lab.
Right.
I'm bullshitting. You think I'm bullshitting, man. Again, guys, we're talking about 5 insurance coverage you can't ignore. Whatever platform you're looking at, please hit the number 1. Make sure you subscribe to the platform. We want to make sure we got our algorithm going. I appreciate all you guys tuning in. Again, we're streaming live on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. What am I forgetting? YouTube and Instagram. So we all over the place tonight. Great, awesome show. Again, this is the $1 Hour. 5 insurance coverage you can't ignore. The second one is dying early. Untimely death. We see this shit all the time. People have, something happens tragically. Everybody got a GoFundMe accounts, and they just trying to get them in the dirt. They just trying to get them buried. They were 18, 21, sometimes the child. We got a family funeral home down in Griffin, man. They've been making a post. I just seen like a little 4-year-old and a couple of teenagers died last week. Oh, wow. So, people not necessarily expecting that. Right. And again, and I don't think it's an issue people take life for granted. It's just, again, like we say, we kind of look at it, that's the thing older people going to do, or people that's sickly or whatever, and we don't necessarily prepare for it. So those untimely deaths, people just, we spend, that's how this world works. We always planning for tomorrow. We just be forgetting tomorrow is not promised to us.
Yeah, plus nobody really, to be honest with you, if you think about the mindset, most people don't want to talk about death. They don't want to plan for it. They don't want to do anything for it. So that in itself, just the psychological part of even talking about it, makes it hard for you to get the coverage that you would need for it, because you don't want to think about it. Nobody wants to think about something so morbid. To be honest with you, right? Yeah. So they never. Plus, you always say it's gonna be when I get older. I can do it tomorrow. I can do it next week. So yeah, those things. That's one of the things that. That's one of the insurances I believe that gets looked over a lot is that life insurance.
Definitely, I think life insurance definitely for younger people too. Mm-hmm. And see, here's the deal about when we say life insurance. I've done. Make sure you got a video I did about how the main purpose of life insurance. I did that about a year ago. Remember, life insurance is not to bury you. Life insurance is to replace you. Mm-hmm. And what really, you like I said, they done saved enough money, sold enough plates, done enough just to get you in the ground and buried. But now we forget that this person had a job, mm-hmm. This person got dependents, mm-hmm. This person got bills that are still going because his family is still there. So what are we gonna do now? Right. And I think that's what people miss. Mm-hmm. I always kind of looked at it when I was younger, just be transparent with me. When I was younger with 4 kids, I carry more life insurance because something would have happened to me. It paid for their tuition.
Right.
I done went through the whole 20-year term, and I'm kind of touch on that. I carry less life insurance because I figured, we got some things that are bigger that they inherited. But also, hell, I feel like I'm giving you more money in game.
Right.
Shit. I'm just speaking
Invaluable game,
now,
right?
listen, I've had this conversation with my kids already.
Okay.
So they know, hey.
There's something about that invaluable game.
Yeah. Now, I ain't like the Buffetts and the Zuckerbergs and the Gates.
Right.
They gave up 90% of their shit. Now, I ain't on it.
Don't believe that.
Yeah. Well, hell, even they 90 is just whatever.
Right.
But I'm just saying, my whole thing is I gave my kids, I think I gave them enough for them to be self-sufficient. They'll have enough to get them. But right now you're talking about one out of college, one halfway in, one starts next year, and then the baby. Hell, the cost ain't the same.
Right.
So I just really, right now, had to be able to cover. Okay, something happened to the baby.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, I got that covered.
Right.
And the third one, so I'm not really too worried about that. You know, I'm just focused on me, and getting ready for that next phase after that. Shit, I ain't trying to help. I'm gonna give you the game. You run with it. So with that said, when you start looking at how you gonna replace that, are you in a position where you can actually cover yourself in the event something happens to you? You got something left?
No, go ahead.
Like if you got something happening, I think a lot of people don't look at it like that. How are you gonna be able to replace you? How are you gonna be able to replace all the costs that you have associated with your family and everything that from your children and their education, your spouse, things that you want to continue to go on or whatever. Maybe your parent or something like that, siblings that you want to make sure things are straight, nieces and nephews. How are they going to be taken care of? Because again, we're looking at insurance as what replaces you.
Right.
So those kind of things, I feel like not thought of. And a couple tidbits I want people to understand. When we start looking at life insurance, a couple things I want people to understand is that number one, a couple rules. You need to make sure, because a lot of times we start our jobs, we get life insurance with our jobs.
Right.
Have another policy outside of what you have with your job.
Right.
Because most of the times the jobs you can get a relatively nice policy, life insurance, that you're paying minimum, that's getting taken out your paycheck.
Right.
The flip side of it is that policy ceases with your job.
Right.
And understand me very clearly. The policy you can get at 25 is a lot cheaper than the policy you can get at 35 or 45. Because we done got some health ailments, we done got fat, we done had things change. Well, we're gonna say fat.
Speak for yourself.
We've got mature.
Speak for yourself.
Got you. We've got mature. We don't have our 24-year-old body.
Right.
Right. And so what happens? We're gonna get a much more expensive product than what we could have got when we were younger. So focus on getting that insurance, that term, at least a term policy in your 20s, as in addition to what you have at your job. I mean, trust me, because like things happen. It's not we're trying to speak negative, but things happen. So have something in addition to what you have in your job, because you can leave,
right?
Get fired, anything happen,
right?
And that policy stops right there.
I think a lot of people don't realize also, and you have to check this with your own individual company. I believe I found this out with a company I worked at. When I got life insurance through them, they actually had life insurance on me too. You get what I'm saying? So when you sign that, sometimes when you sign those papers, you give them permission to get life insurance on you too. So you have to read that fine print just a little bit more. Because at one point it was a while back that companies was actually getting life insurance on their employees and cashing in on them when they passed away, and a lot of people didn't know that was happening. So you have to read that fine print and make sure. Because I read it top to bottom. I even take my time sometimes in signing that stuff. I'll be like, I'll get back to you on that, because I need to make sure that I'm signing something correctly, and I also need to make sure that I'm signing something that's not going to benefit them in the long run. So,
well, that's a point. Good point you bring it up. See, there's nothing wrong with a company getting life insurance on an employee, especially if you have a skill set that's crucial to the operation. So when you see like presidents, vice presidents, or partner or a lead person or something like that, that their skill set is very integral to the part of the company, it's not uncommon for the company to have life insurance on that person. Not necessarily to get a profit off of it, but to be able to turn around and find somebody to what? Replace that joker.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of, the thought process less to cash in on your death. It's more so to be able to cost. Because if you're a revenue generator for my company, because we always talk about it, Lab, the people, the managers or whatever, you can be a manager of a sales team.
Mm-hmm.
He's on salary, making $100,000. But he got sales guys up under him making $150,000, $200,000.
Mm-hmm.
The people that make the money for the company are the people that get paid the most,
Right.
right? So one of those people leave, we got to get another revenue generator in. We got to be able to what? Compensate them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of theoretically, you know,
we don't think of it like that.
Huh?
We don't think of it like that.
I know.
You know.
I know.
We don't. I know what you're saying. I get exactly what you're saying, but technically, we don't think of it like that.
At the end of the show, when I open the floor up, I'm gonna share a story that I seen on TikTok.
Okay.
To kind of give people's vision and stuff with business, but but to that point, that's why you see where you have a lot of corporate and partnerships where it's definitely very common in partnerships where you may have a 2-man operation that we partners, we work together for both of them have insurance policies on each other, because again, the loss of you in that business can be so damaging. I got to go out and get another partner,
Right.
or I got to be able to cover the cost of something that to substantiate the loss of you. So that's theoretically the reason why you still employ. You ain't gonna necessarily have an insurance policy if you got a warehouse, and one of the people on the floor passes,
Mm-hmm.
but that operations manager that have this one of those Six Sigma,
Mm-hmm.
fully operational supply chain thing that's giving the function.
Right.
To get another one of them costs money, right?
Okay.
So to be able to, you got a policy to cash in and bring another guy like that in to give him a bonus.
Mm-hmm.
That's usually what the policy is for.
Okay.
That's good. That's a good point. Brought that up. But to that point, make sure you have another insurance policy outside of the one that you have with your job that you may, again. And the other thing of it is, guys, this is very, very, very important. Make sure you get one of the longest terms you can get. So if you're 20, don't be afraid of getting a 30 or 40-year policy.
Mm.
The reason being is, what I want you guys to understand, you locking in a rate when you're the most healthiest.
Okay.
You locking in a rate when you're the most healthiest.
Mm-hmm.
And your mind say, nah, this, that, and that, and everything. I don't want to do that. And it's going to be a little bit more expensive at a 40-year than a 20-year. But in the grand scheme of things, you trying to get a rate in when you 20, it's still going to be cheaper. A 20-year at 20
Mm-hmm.
and a 20-year at 40
Mm-hmm.
is going to be totally different. So when you go through that 20-year term, you try to redo it. And I'm speaking from personal experience because
Okay.
my 20-year ends next year.
Okay.
And so last year, I'm sitting there going through the race like, God, dog, because I got a little more love on me. You dig? I got a little more love on me.
Right.
Than when I was 26.
Right.
Right? So I got to be able to pay that. But see, the flip side of it, I told him then. I thought about it then. I said, damn. So we had another 20 on there.
Mm-hmm.
That 20 go out when I'm 66. I plan to live past that. I said, damn. Let me go and make it a 40.
Mm-hmm.
Because that way it'll lock me in. I figure if I make it an 80, son, whatever,
Right.
y'all can just bury me in my backyard.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? We don't need, I might have my little Chateau Pouchet. You know what I'm saying? My little estate.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You go out there in the backyard and dig me up like you do your little puppies.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But my thought process is, if I go another 20-year term from 40 to 60, that 60-year-old rate gonna bust me for
Right.
real. Cause the 40 ain't cool.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Shit. But I lock in a 40-year rate, a 40-year term with that. So I say that you can lock in a 40-year term. They ain't gonna let you get so much,
Right.
but it'll be a whole lot cheaper to do that. And, people got different things with the infinite banking and get the whole life and all that kind of stuff. But you know you ain't one of them damn type of people stay on top of that, do all that kind of stuff.
Right.
It ain't gonna make no sense. And the money you feel like you save now, you can be putting that money in other vehicles. I'm just saying, it sound good.
Right.
But at the end of the day, 90% of the people not gonna be disciplined and forward thinking enough to be trying to flip and do all that kind of stuff with investments and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we talking straight term, the simplest you can get. If you in your 20s, or just say 30s,
Mm-hmm.
definitely try to get the longest term possible. I don't give a damn if you're in your 40s to do it. I'm just speaking in terms of when you're starting this stuff, try to lock in the best rate you can for the longest period. Because again, you trying to do it in your 40s, trying to start over, it's way more expensive.
Right.
So try to get that stuff locked in, and that's very, very important. Another thing to kind of keep in mind, I think a safe number is get a policy that's 5 times your current income. 5 times your current income. So if you make it $50,000, get you at least $250,000 policy. 5 times your current income. So I think that's a safe number to kind of be going at. So again, we're talking about 5 insurance coverages you can't ignore. And the first one was health insurance. The second one is having term life insurance. Because again, we're looking at when people die prematurely or untimely death, it can be just so devastating replacing that person. And like I said, replacing that income is so crucial. And people don't really think about it, because the thought process so much is just burying that person, but not necessarily replacing that person. So you start talking about making sure you got enough to cover everything, to cover those current and future expenses, that being mortgage, education, hell, lifestyle. You want to be able to keep it moving. You don't want, some of us don't care. We pass over, you got your wife still there. You might say, I don't want her to celebrate with nobody, but at the end of the day, you want everybody to still keep living, right? Young lady, if you pass and your husband there by himself, you want him to still keep living. So again, that mortgage cost, education, lifestyle, we want to be able to make sure those things are still going on. So kind of make sure you got certain things in place to at least cover that. Okay, remember, insurance is not to bury you. You want to get that mindset. Insurance is not to bury you. Insurance is to replace you. Okay? Keep that mindset. You want to be able to replace you. And the longer you can get in a rate, the better it is, guys. The better it is if you want to actually lay it on. Because you can always, once you got a term locked in, you got a certain amount of time. If you want to convert it to a whole life policy or something like that, I would always caution on making sure that you got the right person instructing you the differences of the policies of what you're doing. But if you can lock in that policy at a certain age and at a certain health level, it'd be the longer out, it'd be much more beneficial, because you get we should get north of 40. Weight comes up, you may have different chances of high blood pressure, diabetes, other ailments can come up. And now you're talking about 5-10 times the cost just to have that certain kind of insurance on it. So be smart about it, guys. Be smart about it, okay? Because you like we said with the health insurance, you're going to another risk level. All right. So make sure we try to get that term life insurance extended out as much as possible. Okay. The third one, and this is very, very important, because I know everybody see that commercial, wife whack.
Affleck. Right.
That wife whack.
Right.
And I think, and this is the third coverage is to be able to protect you with a loss of the ability to work or the loss of the ability to earn income. Far too often, we've had, slip and falls, accidents, and things like that just happen. And it may be from a certain ailment, it may be from something just happened, or whatever. Or your spouse or somebody in your family had an ailment, you had to stop working. We hardly ever think about it. Your spouse gets sick, she got cancer, you got to take her to chemo treatments and everything, you got to shut it down. Child done broke their leg, you got to miss all this kind of stuff. How in the world you can't work because you got to take them to their appointments? How in the hell y'all can continue to function?
Right.
People don't think about this stuff, but it always happens. And now we scrambling around trying to get the village together, and now we stuck because everybody may be doing okay,
right?
But they doing okay for themselves. They're not necessarily doing okay to help you out. So you sitting there saying, I can't earn the wages, I can't do what I was able to do, and now my whole lifestyle changing because we got to sit here and adjust to this new thing that's come on us because my spouse got sick, my child hurt or whatever, and it can be devastating.
Right.
And it happens all the time. And so we got to have some kind of mechanisms in place to make sure that we're able to cover some things. And so that's what we say the advent of having some kind of additional or supplemental insurance comes up. You start looking at things like especially personal accident, short-term and long-term disability insurance coverages.
Right.
A lot of times people don't necessarily look at it with what's happening there and stuff. but I will tell you again, it goes the same way where I look at it with the life insurance. I think it's very smart to have those kind of coverages. If you have it at your job, good, and also probably have another policy outside of your job.
Are the rates for those like Aflac and all that, those short term and long term disability insurances, are the rates for those high? I mean, because I've looked into them and they was kind of a little high, you know. Okay, how does
everything relative?
Yeah, tell us how. I mean, just to give us a little insight on how they. I guess if you know, how do they, like, you know, with life insurance they go by your age and maybe your health?
They still do the same kind of, you know, just like common factors to come to an aggregate number.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing, just like you got like you know, just say you may have a short term and long term thing. They may go by your height, weight. You don't have any kind of medical. Most times with your job, they just offer it to you. You may have one of those other companies where you got maybe some secondary company. They may want to do an exam or something like that. Or someone want. They kind of look at insurance already. Kind of have like certain risk grid.
Okay.
Age, height, lifestyle. Do you smoke? Do you drink? And you know, kind of weigh that kind of stuff out.
Okay.
And have that. It may be a little bit, just say, more costly. But at the end of the day, it's invaluable. You know, that's the thing about it. You got something supplementing your income or help bringing money in. You're not paying for affordability. You're paying for protection.
Okay. Well,
everything.
Affordability is relative because we need to be able to afford to pay for the protection.
But if you don't have it, you can't afford not to.
Okay.
Because that's the thing about it. I totally understand what you're saying, Leah. But the thought process, if we don't sit here and look at, that's too much money for me to come out of and it may not happen, but if it does happen, what do you do?
Right.
What do you do? And so, you know, people can help you when you're going through stuff, right? People can help you, but shit, you know, they can't adopt you.
Yeah, they can.
You know?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
You know, so I'm just saying the help only gonna go so far.
Right.
As far as they can be able to help people. So when you sit here and, you know, I can't do this, I can't do this, shit you say you can't do, you have no choice. So now you sit out here and your whole, how many times you seen that? People in between, like, okay, just one instance, man, we got sick, you know, definitely just say if you get, and look at it like this. You get sick, you can't work no more, you had to leave your job. Hell, the insurance coverage is maybe gonna cover you so long after that. Then you ain't got nothing coming in. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Shit happens.
Right.
Shit happens.
That's true.
You know? Nobody gets sick on purpose. Nobody get, you know, have certain circumstances come up just for no damn reason.
Right.
So we have to prepare.
Okay.
We have to prepare. Everything, all these things we're talking about, guys. Here's the thing about it. We're talking about 5 insurance coverages you can't ignore. You don't quote unquote have to have any of these, right? You don't have to have any of these. But if you don't have it and the situation comes up, you're screwed.
You're gonna wish you had.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You're damn screwed. So, you know, when you got to miss that little time there, well, just say, God forbid, somebody get cancer, somebody get a disease, an ailment, and we don't have nothing coming in. Come on now.
Right.
Damn, I wish I would. I wish I had them. I wish I, you know what I'm saying? That shit make a difference.
That's true.
It make a difference.
That's true.
You know, especially if you don't have no kind of, you know, income coming in. If you got
true.
your retirement coming in already, you got your a disability form or something like that already coming in already, it's different because you already got that income coming in. But if you know you working and you need money coming in, and how you protect yourself?
Right.
The whole thing about what insurance is to mitigate risk. We start looking at, you know, just that whole world, you know, risk management and everything. Each thing you do, each person has a certain risk level depending on how their lifestyle set up, their occupation, location, things like that. Whole thing of insurance to kind of, you know, mitigate that risk, right? So, you know, a person that's actually working in the office doesn't have the same lifestyle risk as a police officer,
right,
firefighter, somebody skydiving and shit.
Right.
So we know at the end of the day, so we just try to mitigate it. If you're working out every day and training and you're maybe a vegan, we're speaking hypothetically, you're probably in a different health zone than somebody that just, you know, a food eating contest or something like that does that for a living, right?
Mm-hmm.
We just always try to find ways to kind of lower and mitigate everything. And so we sitting there looking at these are policies in place. You don't have to have that, but if you know that you could possibly be affected by this, you can't afford not to. Mm-hmm. You know, and this stuff game changes. There are so many people that can go from making, oh man, about to knock my Woodford over. Alcohol abuse. Shit. I won't talk to you that much. You can pull me a little bit in one now. Right. But you know, it'd be so many times, and I know y'all probably wondering where your cigars at, D. I'll tell the lab, man, all my damn lighters and shit.
Everything.
Lord,
left those sticks at the house.
Yeah, I left them at the house, man. And left my whiskey. But a lot of times people can be going from one day making $150,000 till hell a week later they just trying to figure it out.
Right.
Trying to figure it out. Mm-hmm. And now you're scrambling. But if you have things in place, oh, we can cover this, we can cover that, or we got this in place, they got that in place, makes things a lot smoother. How many people in got Pawpaw over at the house and they pushing Pawpaw around like he the dinner nobody want to eat? Huh?
Right.
Huh?
Right.
And that's why, man, I be telling you, man, about that stuff, doing all this stuff for your damn kids. You done got 80, 90 years old. They got you sitting in the corner, piss all over yourself. Nobody want to change. All your money. Yeah, all that money you done made. Man,
they living a good life with all your money.
I ain't changed them, whatever. They got you pushed in the corner. You sitting over there damn crying.
Right.
Man, that's why I say I ain't leaving nobody. Man. I can see it, man. I ain't changing, Dad.
You need to feel how
you changing, man.
Right.
No, man, he done pooped. I can see it. Got me in a damn corner some damn well, sitting in my piss. Sitting in my piss. Right. But if you got the insurance,
right?
You got that fine niece, sponge bath every day.
So you go to a spot.
Yeah, yeah. Got little fine nurses. Right. You got little, you know, you got Miss Kitty. She down the hall. You know, you 80, she 80, and y'all try to do what y'all do with whatever working. But you got costs covered.
Right, because your insurance.
There you go.
Is covering
there you go. I'm trying to give you perspective now.
Okay.
I'm trying to give you perspective. You sitting at the house, you got that little young girl coming out. I just want a sponge bath. Yeah. Wipe me. Just do that. Wipe me. Just do that.
Thank God for insurance.
Yeah, there you go. But if you don't have that insurance,
it's you in the corner.
Oh man, shit. They might take you on the porch.
Spray you down.
Hold your ass down. Oh.
Right.
Who the hell want to go through that?
Right.
You can't afford not to have this, guys. I'm telling you.
Right. Okay.
I'm telling you. That's a hell of a perspective, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna give me some as soon as I get off this air.
You think a lot of folk going through that?
Yeah, I think a lot of times, even if you have the money, you make the money. A lot of times that people go through that. People go through the flaws when they're older and they're in their twilight years. People go through that where their family don't want the burden of taking care of them and they don't have any place to go because they didn't get the insurance, or they do have the money. They thought the money was gonna cover it, but little Johnny took all the money and invested it and lost it. So, those things right there in itself. A lot of times when people have money, like you say, you leaving money to your spouse and your offspring. They think that money is gonna cover them in their twilight years. They need to go to a retirement home or a retirement living or assisted living place, but a lot of times that is not covered because the kids take the money or the spouse takes the money, spends it all up or whatever, and then next thing you know, there's no money to cover it because it's all gone.
Yeah. I think it's a great point. Even if your heirs have good intentions, they want the best for you, and they want to cover that, the flip it's a strain. I know anybody that has been in that particular. We've been through that with both my grandparents. You love them and you care about them, but that's a lot. That's a lot, man. Shuffling your life around another person, and you got to sit, especially if you done raised children or whatever. That shit is a lot.
Right.
It's a lot, man. And so even if you have all the intentions, the strain of carrying that and damn near being selfless, of taking care of somebody, even though they took care of you, but that's a lot to do. And so again, like I said, you can even leave your heirs in a decent place, but just having them there to do certain things. But you got to kind of be forward thinking. Like, people gonna have stuff going on, and everything. Are they obligated? You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of a tricky area. And so I want to stress to everybody: short-term, long-term, long-term care, supplemental, cancer policies. Guys, y'all need to really be looking into that. Really be looking into it. Again, we're talking about 5 insurance coverages you can't ignore. You really need to be looking into that. That supplemental insurance stuff, it's you don't have to have it, but you damn sure might find a situation where you wish you had to have it.
Right.
You know, so I really can't stress that enough. Again, we're talking about 5 insurance coverages you cannot ignore. Okay. The fourth one is, and this is one of the ones I think is really, really funny.
Yeah.
We start talking on cars.
So
again, a lot of times with cars, people, most times you get a new car, they're gonna force you to get what's called full coverage, right? The issue comes with full coverage. You have difference between what we call comprehensive and collision. That's why, and here's the deal: you don't have to have all that on there. We got quote unquote full coverage because one just may really cover you if you at fault and another person, hit a car or whatever, and or cover that, or they hit you or whatever, just the event that they insurance on there. That's with that. But you have other shit that happens. A deer jump out on you. A tree fall on your car. Oh.
Right.
If you ain't got the right policy in place,
Right.
I got full coverage.
Not for that.
You walk out there in that parking lot and somebody hit your damn car and they ain't there no more. And you figure, okay, well, I got insurance. Well, under your certain policy, you don't have that.
Right.
And it happens all the time, people. Make sure you scrutinize, go through everything that's on your insurance policy for your vehicle, motor vehicle insurance. I think far too often people don't necessarily look at what they need. I get it. You got liability, the car ain't worth too much, and you don't necessarily need all that kind of stuff. I get it. But the flip side of it is, let's keep it real. Let's keep just look at the prices of cars. If your car that you carry insurance, that you carry liability insurance right now, you know that if something happened, that's your only mode. Could you easily cut your losses with just the liability and it's over with, and go to the dealership get you another car? You might need some down payment money.
Right.
Now, if you sit here and say, okay, look, I'm carrying liability because even they told it out, I'm only going to get a $500 check, okay, that's a different conversation.
Right.
But if you know they're going to give you a couple grand, even though you say it ain't worth it, you got to look at big picture-wise. Okay, I got enough to put down on a car. Because you don't went from having that particular car that you had, and the way prices are right now with cars, you may not necessarily be able to get some kind of equaling with it, right? We're talking about just looking at the actual policy that you get. You got to make sure that you look at all the different ins and outs of insurance of your vehicle to make sure you cover. Because people quote typically say, okay, well, I'm going to get liability, I'm going to get full coverage. What about say like that?
Let me ask you a question. Do your car insurance cover you, like, let's say, God forbid, you driving along, everything's good, a little kid jumps out behind the car and you hit him? Would your car insurance cover that?
I think the medical portion will cover to a certain point. In that declaration page of your insurance, they'll say, well, how much you'll be able to cover for other people and all that kind of stuff. So they'll cover that to a certain point with doing it. Past that, I think, get other attorneys in, they want to make lawsuits. You can't, somebody can sue you for anything, but you ain't got no damn money. And you ain't got no assets for them to try to take advantage of. Ain't too much you can damn do. They be just, most of the time, they get their ass in line.
Your own clone said that most times people go for the bare minimum for the insurance coverage because they're not seeing the bigger picture of what can be covered and what needs to be covered.
Absolutely, and that's a great point. The other side of it is the insurance company trying to make the damn sale. They know you come there with no damn money, so they giving you the bare minimum. So even like to that point, just say we're gonna give you, quote unquote, full coverage. It's full coverage under the eyes of the law with his new car, but for collision, certain purposes, it may not cover you if a deer pop out. It may not cover you if a tree fall on your car. maybe like the medical portion. I don't know if that's state mandated. If all of them got to give out a certain amount of medical or a certain amount of collision, that I don't know. But certain things may be off from that because they trying to make the sale for you to get it. So you got quote unquote full coverage
on the eyes of the law.
On the eyes of the law. But as far as protecting you and things can happen from a decent amount, not enough decent the word, but just from a realistic from actually to cover certain losses, it may not be enough. Cause they trying to make the sale.
Right.
And that's one of the things too. Like sometimes when you show your hand to people, they give you enough to keep you okay. But when you start looking at like, man, damn, man, you know, man, your major places, you know, Allstate, State Farm, Liberty, things like that, they may cost a little bit more, but you're gonna go to La Hacienda, right at the corner of Walmart, and got you a full coverage insurance for $50 a month.
Right.
And you're like, okay, cool. Man, your ass try to put in a claim with them. First of all, you gotta get somebody on the damn phone.
Right.
And then, hello, you get them on the damn phone. Shit.
Right.
That rental car you thought you gonna get, you borrowing the secretary car for an hour, and man, they knock dents and shit out your car. Right. You know, you know, when you sometimes get to be covered,
you get what you pay for.
You get what you pay for.
Right.
You know, so those are the kind of things we got to kind of keep in mind too. You know, just looking at make sure that you're covered to mitigate those losses. Another thing we got to make sure of too is also make sure you have an affordable deductible. Far too often we know with what the smaller the deductible, the higher the premium gonna be, right? So I ain't got time to be paying all that shit a month, so I'm just gonna get a bigger deductible. But how many of y'all done pulled up to that light? We 2 months in. 2 months into 22.
Right.
Y'all done seen that 2022 Mercedes Benz with that big ass dent in the door.
Because they can't pay that they can't pay that deductible.
Hey, man.
That
the hell you doing?
Hey, $2,000.
Hey, that mother light. They ain't even trying to look. They ain't even trying to look over there like this. They like this. Hey, they like this.
Right.
I know, man. I know. Shit, I can't pay no damn $1,000 deductible. You know what I'm saying? They sitting there like this.
Right.
Hey, man.
$1,000.
Hey, man. I'm talking about the whole trunk smushed in. And you sitting there like, what? And they, some of them damn slimy. They get the repair check. They just keep that damn check.
That's true. Slick say that all the time. Every time she see a content, she say, somebody kept the check.
They kept the check. Oh my God, man. Get your stuff fixed.
Take the check down there and get it repaired.
Man, come on now. Come on.
Right.
Come on now. So those are the kind of things we want to make sure that we actually fully cover in a reasonable amount. That deductible that you trying to get this bigger deductible, trying to avoid this higher premium, it come back and bite you in the butt so bad. Be smart, y'all. Be smart. That extra $20 or $30 a month may just be 1 or 2 less cases of bill you don't buy. Let's be realistic, right? It's not that it's gonna put you in a hole or set you back anything.
Jerome Clone said, speak about the merits of the insurance company representing you if someone else hits you.
If someone else hits you?
The merits. Like, I guess will they cover you if someone else hits you? Like you have uninsured coverage.
Usually what happens with insurance, and this is me, every car accident I've had, and I've had a few, and I've never been at fault. Usually the insurance companies will kind of maybe, depending on what level of insurance you got, your bigger brands, they probably try to pay it, get everything taken care of, restore you the way you are, and then have conversation with other insurance companies, level it off, and get it covered. If that person, they can't get it done, typically what happens is, if that person doesn't have an insurance, your insurance company will restore you, and they'll put litigations on that person.
Okay.
Right? If that insurance company meets with that company and they can't, you know, they're having disputes about, you know, hey, we don't feel like this was covered, they'll kind of maybe, you know, usually they're still going to cover you, you know, with everything, but if they renew it or not. But the most important thing, they try to restore you to back where you are and take care of everything on the back end with that other insurance company. typically, like we was just talking about having those additional collision and collision coverages and comprehensive coverages. Just say somebody hits you in a parking lot, and you come out and you see this big dent. You have to pay a certain deductible. I went through that happened before. My son was in college. We paid half of the deductible, and they restored the car from there. But you got to have a certain collision comprehensive policy to have that set up. Okay. But typically, if the other you're at fault, they'll cover that. Just like you have a liability policy. But if that other person doesn't have anything, they'll try to usually like they'll try to do that. They don't, because that can just take keep in mind. We talking about big insurance organizations, different departments, a lot of moving parts. They're moving at different times. They'll try to restore, touch base with them, and get everything covered, settle up with them later on. And that may be months, on their end, but they know they're going to get the money, but they've already taken care of you.
Okay.
Okay. Typically what happens a lot of time with insurance companies, they've already, just with being in insurance counting for all those years, and I deal with workers' comp and liability insurance funds. There's a certain amount of already located in funds already, billions of dollars. Okay. In funds already to cover certain costs. And like I said, that's why I know I'm familiar with that whole scale of knowing from looking at different risk factors or different assets and stuff like that. Just dealing with majority of the insurance. The insurance policy for most of the counties in the state of Georgia. Outside of Metro Atlanta, most of Georgia is rural, so it's natural for a lot of times. You see one of those, somebody accidentally hit a cow or whatever, but you'd be surprised. A cow down there $2 million, because you gotta understand it's not the beef, the cow, or the milk. It's that cow plus all the future earnings that cow can make,
right?
From food or to making other cows or to making milk, right? So all that kind of stuff you gotta kind of look at it. So you gotta make sure that how many farms around, how many this, that, and that. All that kind of goes to the the cost of certain premiums, and certain things are allocated once the actual initial premium is signed to get that insurance policy started. Okay. Right. So it's just more, it's a lot of math. That's why those actuaries get paid so much money. Yeah. If you got a kid good in math, those actuaries, risk management people, they get paid a lot of money. It's not a popular field. It's a lot of Indians, a lot of Asians. There's a lot of mathematics involved. But that's a field I always try to get, especially if you like math. You don't see too many African Americans in it. Okay. And because it doesn't take a lot of people skills. Oh, okay. So it's like they walk in calculators, but they get PAID. You know what I'm saying? Those people that carry those, like I said, risk managers and most of actuaries. We're doing it and everything. I met a brother when I was at Georgia State. He was in school for that. He was a pretty sharp guy. But they do all that front end math. Okay. To calculate all that kind of stuff to help figure out those particular things and stuff. But that's what So if you ever see that guys with an actuary, that's what they do. They help calculate the amount for certain premiums. Okay. With doing that. About it was something else I wanted to say. The deductible. That's very important. I want to make sure people get an affordable deductible. Not affordable deductible. A deductible. Affordable deductible. Even though it may cause an increase in your premium, be okay with that. Okay. Be okay with that.
I'm gonna throw one more in there.
Talk to me.
Also, getting coverage when your car gets broken into. Those, some insurances, some full coverage don't cover that. There's certain language in that, and I learned this through Slick that they have to, certain language there for them, like say if your car get broken into and they steal your MacBook. If you get the right kind of coverage insurance, they'll pay for the window, the car, and the MacBook. So you have to, look at those kind of things. If you stay in an area where cars get broken into all the time, that may be something you want to look into.
Well, the thing of it is too. It go back to the conversation when you start looking at getting coverage, regardless of what it is, your car, whatever. You gotta have these conversations with these people because the narrative a lot of times is the price. Everybody always selling what? Price. We're the cheapest, we're the best, we're affordable, right? Cash back here, or we will replenish this, that, and that. At the end of the day, you got to make sure you cover too. So a salesman, unless they actually know you, to know you trying to mitigate your losses, they might just be trying to get you in a fair product, and it may be decent, but it's going to be the minimum to cover what we just said, the regular coverage under the eyes of the law.
Mm-hmm.
You got to make sure you have that, because that's going to cost more damn money now.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to cost more money. You know, so you got to make sure that you have those particular mechanisms in place and let that be known. I want to have that covered. Your thing might be, look, I'm not paying the extra $20 for that because the computer gets stolen. I can buy another. The math may not work for you. I get it. But you have to be very, very cognizant of that, because if it does happen, can you cover the cost?
Right.
You know, that's one thing. One part of insurance that a lot of people forget about is gap insurance. Make sure y'all check out a video where I did don't have gap insurance included with the purchase of your car. I always tell people to get gap insurance from your independent insurance company or your regular insurance company you have with your car. Mm-hmm. Check that video out on Mr. Short Dollar. Don't have a gap insurance. You can just put it and search gap insurance on the YouTube channel. But I always tell people at the end of the day, like, you know, you might owe $5,000 on the car, and insurance company gonna pay the $5,000. Mm-hmm. I mean, insurance company gonna pay $2,000 or $3,000 because the value has went down.
Right.
And you trying to figure out how to pay the difference.
Okay. And
so many people get stuck with it. I can't do that, and you know, a lot of people get cars upside down.
True.
They're putting in the other car tied into that. Now you got this big loan that you just fought with. Something happened to your car got totaled, but you still out there over $3,000 or $4,000.
True.
And you just sitting there like, man, I can't do it. It's not mandatory to get gap insurance, but how you gonna cover the difference?
Right.
Again, we don't have accidents on purpose. We don't do it on purpose.
So gap insurance, for all of us that don't know, is to cover whatever the cost of the car is, just in case you get totaled out, right? So if the car is $5,000 and your insurance only gonna give you $1,000, the gap insurance will cover that out of $4,000.
Yeah.
$4,000.
Okay, by definition, the gap insurance is to cover the difference between the actual appraised value of the car and the actual loan amount.
Okay.
So if your loan amount is $2,000, and $5,000, and the value of the car is $2,000, there's a $3,000 difference that gap insurance will cover.
Okay. Sometimes you just break it down to us like fractions.
I apologize. Gotta explain the Short Dollar way.
Yeah.
So you know, it's just paying off the difference between the actual loan amount and the actual value of the car. So and most of the times, you know, depending on the rate you got your car in, it's going to be a substantial difference between the loan amount and the value of the car.
Okay.
You know, when you start getting to that 0, 1, 2%, you kind of stay in. You don't necessarily need gap insurance because the car is depreciating at a certain amount where the value of the car and your loan balance kind of going in unison, right? Mm-hmm. When you start getting those 10, 15, buy here, pay here a lot, 20%,
right?
You definitely gonna need that kind of stuff.
Okay.
You know, because again, you got a difference that's gonna be so much greater because the loan amount is so much bigger than the actual appraised value of the car.
Okay.
So you need to make sure that you have all these mechanisms set in place with that. But definitely check out that video on not getting gap insurance included with your car. Last thing, guys, again, we talk about 5 insurance covers you cannot afford or ignore. This is the last one, guys. This one is, I think, you know, super important. It's called damages to your house. I think typically everybody, you know, you get a house, you get your little mortgage insurance, you know, tree fall on your house, something like that. And typically, after you done just bought the house, that first year and a half, whatever, you got a lot of things covered, storm, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. After that damn first year, all that stuff out the damn window.
You start falling off.
Your AC unit, your appliances, and all that other kind of stuff. And you know, you got your $300 or $400 TV, you got your $400 hot water heater, you got this, you know, $1,000 refrigerator, dishwasher, stove, lightning hit your house. You don't know what the hell to damn do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And now you going to scratch and dent. You got this mishmash appliances.
Because you can't get it replaced.
What the hell is going on? Got stainless steel, then you got this old chitty bang bang shit. So I want to talk about like home warranties or having other kind of insurance to kind of replace certain things in your house with those go on. Everybody have different experience with home warranties. I've had some good ones. I've had some unique ones with dealing with them. But in the grand scheme of things, when you start looking at repair costs, especially when you start looking at some of the major units, AC unit, plumbing and stuff like that, it kind of math kind of works out. You might have to come out a little extra change on it. But, you know, again, if you got a plumber come in your house and you're not familiar with plumbing, and I'm just, you know, you myself, for example, guy come to your house. I've had home warranties for about 20 years. And but a guy come to your house and he say it's this leaking. You give him $400. Now it's still dripping. He come back. He said it was this, that, and that. That ain't the same thing. Now it's $500 he charging. You don't know, cause you just sitting here like, man, I just had you.
Right.
And then that couple weeks later, that started dripping. Now you gotta give them $600.
Right.
But usually when you got the warranty or something like that, you call that one time. They know everything's locked in.
Mm-hmm.
They may not necessarily be making the same kind. Now that same plumber may not be making the same kind of money if they're working independently, but they get such a big volume of work from this warranty company, they make it work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying you want it to come out of any money, but traditionally you won't come out of the same kind of money if you was actually out there doing it yourself.
Okay.
And the math will usually work. Again, I'm not saying you're not gonna have no experience, but when we start talking about, it's not if stuff happens in your house, it's when stuff happens.
Okay.
You may pay a premium and nothing goes wrong with any of your appliances or whatever for a year or two. But that third year it happens, all the premiums that you done paid for the past couple of years and then some covered into it, and on top of it. Mm-hmm. Let your AC unit go out. Let you whatever. Let 2 or 3 appliances. I mean, it can get you.
Right.
So I'm just saying that we talking about mitigating the loss. Have some kind of coverage set up on your home. Okay. Again, because like I said, we all have the same quote unquote basic. Even if you pay your home off, have some kind of coverage with it. Mm-hmm. Always remember, guys, and I did a video. Make sure you go to that video I did on actual coverage value and replacement coverage value. This is very important. We talk about insurance. Actual coverage value and a replacement coverage value. Okay. Typically, if you own a home outright, you got for an insurance policy, you'll call. Just say you call a broker or insurance person. Say, listen, I got to rent a property, or I got my house right here. I just need some insurance on it. I don't have a mortgage attached or whatever. Mm-hmm. Typically, they'll say you're an actual coverage value policy because it's cheaper. Mm-hmm. The issue with an average coverage value policy is that you're actually they're going to give you the coverage at the value at that particular time. Mm-hmm. So if your roof started leaking or you got some storm damage, you got an $8,000 roof, they're going to give you the actual value at that time. So they factor in depreciation. Okay. So they may only cut you a check for $2,000. Okay. Right? Right. And you sitting there like, hey, I've been paying y'all as insurance all the time. The reason why an insurance person pays you that because it's more affordable.
It looks better.
Yeah. Well,
and you're more apt to get that. You like, oh.
But
$200 a month.
And plus, if it's presented to you, you don't know no better. Right. With it. And I got a video where I broke both of them down. Check out that video, actual replacement value and actual cost value and replacement cost value. I broke it down. So make sure you check that out on Mr. YouTube channel. Where you have a replacement value is they replace the damn cost of the damn roof. Okay. Now if they're gonna do that, that's gonna be more expensive. Mm-hmm. I ain't saying it's high, but it's gonna be more expensive. The replacement value is kind of like the one you may have with the one associated with a home you're paying a mortgage on. Mm-hmm. They'll restore everything up to the cost. And actual, just like I said, that what the value of it is that particular point in time. Because we know a roof at year 1 and a roof at year 12 is gonna have a different value, right? Right. So that's what they'll give you the year 10 actual value of it as opposed to the whole cost of repairing the roof. Okay. So kind of keep in mind with that, guys. So make sure you're looking at those declaration pages and the policies that you're getting associated with your home.
Now, I found something kind of weird on homeowners insurance. When they had them floods way back when, and they were saying that the insurance wasn't covering their home because they were saying they didn't have flood insurance. Yeah. But they were saying what the rain caused a flood. And they was like, well, it still was a flood. So I guess you should just get flood insurance anyway, right?
If you're in a flood zone.
But if you're not, because a lot of these people wasn't in a flood zone at that time. So they were saying that the rain caused the issue, which I tend to agree. If it didn't rain as much as it did, it wouldn't have flooded.
Well, typically if you're in a flood zone, they're going to make you get it. Right. Because most time with the policy, they're going to write it because they know some shit going to happen. But they usually will cover it with that. But let's go back to what you say. Look at it, and we need an addendum in there to have it. Mm-hmm. Most of the time, if it's like I said, they make you get it if you're in a flood zone. Right. So that's why the zip codes and all that stuff you come up where you at.
And a lot of these places wasn't in the flood zone all the time, but it rained like let me tell it for 2 weeks straight, and then stuff just start, the amount of water that come down from the rain rushing through the drains and stuff, it's only built to handle a certain amount of water, so that stuff started coming back up.
Wait, man, when was that? That was 2010 or 12, because the household out Bankhead, it didn't get.
I think it was 2008.
2008, okay,
yeah.
Because that when Vine City had got messed up. Now I remember my household there
was messed up.
Yeah. Cause my household there in Bankhead, it didn't flood into the house, but those duplexes across the street got messed up because there's a creek behind those duplexes. But if you seen the flood map, they were listed on the flood map, and I just remember that because when my grandmother passed and I inherited the house and I started all that transitioning, getting the insurance policies on the house, that's when they were covering it. Mm-hmm. And, bringing all that stuff to my attention about the flood map, and it was already listed on there. I would always say with those particular things, say a flood inside your house causes one thing, but if you got certain things on there, like say a retention pond, a creek near your house, you need to have somebody look it over.
Okay.
Because I don't know. Maybe you kind of like in one of the lower elevation areas, you got risks of having that happen. Mm-hmm. But just like sometimes, the house kind of graded with it sloped down, I can't see how the hell it would get flooded.
Right.
But anything can happen.
Right.
But sometimes it just might not be one of the things that like, no, that's not needed.
Okay.
But if you think about it, you just got to be a little proactive. With stuff. That's a good question, Lab, and I don't know.
Okay.
With doing it, I think a lot of times, people can be slimy with you and say, "Hey, you didn't have this, so we're not gonna cover that." And you're like, "Who the hell thinking about that?" You know what I'm saying? And you hope stuff like that don't happen with that. Unfortunately, a lot of times people do get caught up, because you don't know, and folks take advantage of you because you've been this great customer all these years. They don't do right.
Right.
With doing it, so that's one of them things you got to kind of look at. That was a good question, Lab, but I ain't for sure about that.
I think people need to realize that insurance company is going to do what's in their best interest. Sure, they got you as a customer, but it's always what's in their best interest.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a good one, man. That's a good one. I'm gonna look into that myself.
Okay.
I hope you guys enjoyed the show tonight. Tonight we talked about 5 insurance coverages that you can afford to ignore, that you can't ignore. The first one being, health insurance. Second one being term life insurance. Third, have some kind of personal accident or short-term, long-term supplemental insurance policy. The fourth one being, have some kind of motor vehicle package policy to cover certain things. And the fifth one, have some kind of home insurance or warranty policy in place. I hope you guys enjoy the information. Make sure, again, you subscribe to Mr. Shortall on YouTube. Thanks for checking us out on different platforms. You'll be looking at from Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube as well. And right now we're at the point of the show where before I go any further, I want to answer the last question earlier, which one do I think get ignored the most? I would probably say the home one.
Think homeowner insurance get ignored the most?
Not homeowner insurance, probably the ones like with the warranties and stuff.
Okay.
The warranties and stuff like that. Because a lot of times people have health insurance with their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
They might have it with their job,
mm-hmm.
Because again it's a fort, but so they may have that, but the having certain things covered at the crib, I think that's what they think about the least.
Okay.
I think a lot of people have insurance just with their job, just that minimal coverage.
Mm-hmm.
It don't be enough money.
Right.
But they'll have with their job. They have $10,000 to $20,000 policy, but it never usually enough to replace them. I think most times what the job is offering that, they are charging you $7, $8 a month for that policy. Those would be pretty cheap.
Okay.
That you give with your job.
I give you that. I give you that.
And that's why I was just saying that, because if you got a job, we're doing it. The rest of them damn near always gonna be mandatory.
Well, I think life insurance ignored a lot more because of the general conversation about that.
Yeah, I think majority of people that have life insurance, they're totally underinsured. Underinsured. You know what I'm saying? Some of them might have a damn Primerica package because they really don't have that much. Because they got about $20,000-$30,000 in a job. When I start talking 5 times your income, like, what the hell am I have all that for?
Right.
But they're not thinking of the whole, theoretically, the purpose of life insurance to replace you and not necessarily to put you in the ground.
Right.
So I just think the vast majority of people are underinsured. But to answer that question, the home warranty to just replace the things that could happen in the house, not necessarily the mortgage insurance that you got to have if you own it outright.
Hot water heater, air conditioners, stuff
Yeah,
like that.
because after that first year, all the warranties off.
Okay.
After that first year owning that home, everything off. Right? So you on your own, definitely.
1 year, 2 months in, the air conditioning goes.
Yeah, 3 years in,
right.
The roof, everything wide open.
Okay.
So now you sitting there like, okay, how I'm gonna cover the AC unit? How I'm gonna cover the furnace? How I'm gonna cover the refrigerator? All that stuff like that, you know. And so I just think a lot of folks get stuck with that. And you know, sometimes the cost, you can go 2 or 3 years never use it. What's the reason for it? Then you stop. Next thing you know, shit done went out, and you wish you had them. You know, so that's one with that. Now, with that said, guys, we're gonna open the floor wide open. If you got any questions that are business related, you know, you want to talk about grants, you want to talk about insurance, you want to talk about loans, business, whatever, the floor is wide open and everything. So I'm gonna let you guys ask your questions. Anybody, let me know if you see anything, Lab. Anybody got any questions about anything?
I'm looking.
I'm checking out the Instagram and the TikTok to see if anybody got any questions.
We're in the holding pattern. I don't see no questions over here.
No question here.
You know they want to watch you live tomorrow.
Watch me live.
They want to watch you live tomorrow and ask questions in your comments.
That's cool. Hey, I appreciate everybody tuning in. Thanks. I appreciate everybody tuning in. I appreciate all the subscribers, the likes, the followers, the spreading the word. I can't thank you guys enough from the bottom of my heart. We had Project 25,000.
Right. We had 22-1.
Yeah, we're 22-1. Trying to get that 25,000 as soon as possible.
Right.
So please spread the word. Please spread the word. You know, nobody coming in? Nobody got any questions? Okay, well look, man, y'all just book an appointment, you know.
Right.
Everything cool, man. I had a blast tonight, so I want to tell you guys again from the bottom of my heart, I hope you enjoyed the show. Again, we talked about 5 insurance covers you can't ignore. I hope the show was informative. I hope you enjoyed the show. Take care of yourself, guys. Be safe. Love you. Thanks for all the support, and I'll talk to you soon.